If the Democratic Party is so committed to the status quo and so committed to sticking with something that 3/4 of the country doesn't want, then we have to say, why do we exist? What are we here for?
Career Democrat strategist James Carville is just one of the many establishment hacks finally waking up to the reality we're all living in.
The debate performance obviously has raised questions, which, and that was many months ago. So I think the questions are totally valid, and certainly clearly this is not the debate performance you guys wanted.
Anderson, let me be very clear about this. The president did not do a good job the other night during the debate. He actually acknowledged that himself. He talked about that the next day. Nobody's defending that performance.
And when your campaign co-chair is comfortable saying this on national television?
There are very honest and serious and rigorous conversations taking place at every level of our party because it is a political party. We're having a serious conversation about what to do. One thing I can tell you is that regardless of what President Biden decides, our party is going to be unified, and our party also needs him at the very center of our deliberations and our campaign. And so whether he's the candidate or someone else is the candidate, he is going to be the keynote speaker at our convention. He will be the figure that we rally around to move forward.
When one of the most respected House Democrats is sounding the alarm, you know the Democratic Party's in full-blown panic mode. Despite Raskin doing his best to temper the fears of Democratic voters and affirm his support for Biden, the truth of the matter is this is the exact opposite of what you want to see just months before an election with the stakes that this one has. While Jamie Raskin took a much more diplomatic approach to his concerns, former Representative Tim Ryan inserted himself into the discussion by openly calling for Kamala Harris to take the candidacy from Biden. And just days after the disastrous debate, Representative Lloyd Doggett became the first sitting Democratic congressperson to call for Biden to vacate the candidacy, citing Biden's ineffectiveness in combating Trump's BS and reassuring the base that he's in fact the man for the job. Doggett also mentioned and touched on the Supreme Court presidential immunity ruling, hammering home the fact that whatever crumbs of democracy we have left are going to be gobbled up by Trump and his cronies unless the Democratic Party engages in democracy itself and picks the best Democratic candidate for the job. Or, well, the best candidate for the job.
I'm looking for what crime would break that for you.
It had to be a legit crime that he actually was accused of. And so far, since 2016, he has not been accused of any legit crime that would sway my vote.
Is there any crime that the former president could commit that would disqualify him from your vote?
No.
What if he killed someone?
No.
Is there anything that would get you not to vote for Donald Trump in this election?
No.
What about issues that, what if he committed another crime? Is there anything that would disqualify him from your vote?
I can't think of any personally. No, I can't think of any.
Is there anything that he could do to lose your support?
Say he hate black people. Like, just straight out say he hate black people. Right. Then yeah. But other than that, he hasn't really, there have been some things about him subliminally saying it. But if he straight out said it, then yeah, you kind of lost my.
What about the other guy? And I'm asking this because you brought up Race, who served the first black president in U.S. history, yes. Ran with the first African-American vice president to sit in that office. Pretty impressive stuff, even if it's window dressing. Let's say at its worst, it's window dressing, but at its best, it's about progress. What about that? Does that not sway you in a way? And in terms of the people that he is, the policies he's tried to implement on race?
I don't really have an answer to that. To be honest, I don't really have an answer to that.
Because you said subliminally, yeah. Trump has said some things that are not really in favor of black people, right?
Yes. But Biden has too. I've heard a lot of videos and seen a lot of videos on YouTube about him, throwing shots at, or not, I wouldn't say throwing shots, but saying things about the African-American community and stuff like that. I feel like he's not all for blacks. You know what I mean? He's not all, him or anybody in this party. They just want to put money in their pockets, to be honest with you.
What is it about Donald Trump that gets your support?
I will back him up forever. I think he's a great leader, and the way he runs the country is second to none, and I support that and will always.
Is there anything he could do to lose your support?
No.
Is there anything that Donald Trump could do that would disqualify him from your vote?
I don't think he would do anything disqualifying. More to the point, he's been like an unstoppable force to try to fix things. When he was president, unemployment was at its lowest point, and
until now, right?
Until under Biden, yeah.
Well, this is lowest in history right now.
No.
Well, yes, it is.
It really isn't when you look at how they're counting unemployment now.
The same way they have for decades and decades. The same victories that Trump had in continuing the Obama jobs numbers and the success that Trump had with them until the pandemic, which you can't count against him. But the Biden numbers are lower than they've ever been.
The Biden numbers count illegals as employed, and that's who is working right now. When you're talking about citizens, that's what makes the government tabulation really misleading. Because
so it was misleading under Trump then too, because we've counted the exact same way, right?
Well, there weren't so many illegals under Trump, so if you were counting them, it was a negligible number. That it was a true measure of real Americans born here working.
Wait a second.
See what I mean? These guys aren't paid.
No, they're not paid. They're supporters.
When Biden...
That doesn't mean that he's winning Philly, though.
To add insult to injury, while our Democratic allies are struggling to fix the mess they made and could have seen coming from a mile away, Trump's base could not be more excited at the prospects of a never-ending MAGA regime. There are so many stark differences between the Republican Party and Democratic Party when it comes to all the clips we've seen, right? And by and large, the Republican Party is much more united, okay, on backing Trump, whether it's politicians and voters. In contrast, the Democratic Party, they can't make up their mind. Do they want Biden to be the candidate? Do they want Kamala Harris to take over? They want somebody else, right? And that is very concerning because on the other side, you have a convicted criminal in Trump. But you know what this shows? It speaks to the power of Trump's influence and how he's co-opted populist messaging for his and his billionaire friends' benefit. Just more brainwashed people, right? In those last two clips when a guy says the only thing Trump could do to make him lose his support is if he turned out to be a pedophile. But he also says that he hasn't been accused of a legit crime. He hasn't been accused of a legit crime, but not only has he been accused, he's been convicted of legitimate crimes. Have you not been watching the news? Or you just choose to ignore that to continue your narrative and agenda? Now people are like, yeah, if he killed somebody, no, it wouldn't matter. Well, my goodness, do you have no shame? Do you have no dignity? Do you have no principles? And then the black guy talking about, well, yeah, if Trump came out and said something, I hate black people, I would. Look, I'm not saying Biden is that great either, but Trump is a racist, okay? He promotes racist messaging. The KKK, they back him. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's not surprising, but it's still dumbfounding because it keeps happening over and over again when you talk to these people. For Rebel HQ, I'm Chris Williamson. We'll see you next time.